Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. Today we're going to be taking a look at yet another new premium tank. That's 3 in a row now, Jingles. What's going on? This is the T-22sr. It's a Tier 10 Soviet premium medium tank. And it is absolutely fantastic. This is not a premium tank that you're going to have to worry about spending money on. This, as best as I can make out, details are sketchy, but as I understand it, you're going to be able to earn yourself this tank as a reward. It's a mission tank, and it's going to be available in the new Rampage Domination mode that's coming in the next patch of World of Tanks, the test server of which is going to be up. I think it was due to be up on something like the 15th of October, but technical difficulties revealed by the latest tech test that didn't go very well at all have pushed the release of the patch back to around about the 22nd of October, or at least the test server. But this is the tank that is going to be available in the new Rampage Domination mode that is coming in the next version of World of Tanks. And because it's a mission reward tank, you don't have to spend any money on it. Well, hang on a minute, Jingles. Nothing good is for free. Well, in this case, it very, very definitely is. This is a very, very good tank. Easily as good as any of the other non-premium Soviet Tier 10 mediums, the Object 430, the Object 140 or the T-62A, and in some respects it's even a little bit better. It's a very well armoured, very, very fast. The manoeuvrability and agility of this tank is second to none, and it comes with your traditional Soviet Tier 10 medium tank 100mm rapid firing high DPM gun. It's not all good news, of course, but there isn't really anything bad about this tank other than the standard terrible Soviet Tier 10 medium 5 degrees of gun depression. Only the Object 140 at Tier 10 in the Soviet medium tank line has better gun depression than this, and that's only 1 degree more. I'm almost tempted to say this thing's a little bit too good. Aside from that 5 degrees of gun depression, I really struggle to find anything bad to say about this tank. It really is an exceptionally good machine, every bit as good as the other Soviet Tier 10 mediums. So we're going to jump into the garage, we're going to leave the carnage here on Winter Himmelsdorf, and have a look and see what makes this tank tick. If you're looking for any historical information on this tank, don't waste your time. Paper project only, and an unfinished paper project at that. Design work was stopped, and whatever work had been completed was incorporated into the design of the Object 907, which is another Soviet premium Tier 10 medium tank, and a very good one as well. The Object 907 was a reward tank for the best players in the 3rd Clan Wars campaign. But enough of the Object 907, we're looking at the T-22sr, and here it is. Let's start by taking a look at the gun, and it's a pretty good gun. It's not specifically different in any great way, shape or form to any of the 100mm guns on Soviet tanks like the Object 140, the T-62A and the Object 430. It's the D54TS. It's a sort of upgraded version of the 100mm gun that you get in the T-54 at Tier 9, and it's exactly the same gun as the 100mm gun that you get on the Object 907. The only really disappointing thing about this gun is the rate of fire. 8 rounds per minute isn't bad, but, well, when you see the average damage per minute of this gun compared to the other Tier 10 medium Soviet tanks, you'll see what I'm talking about. Penetration, don't forget, standard ammunition on Tier 10 mediums is a PCR, so 264mm of standard penetration, 330 with high explosive anti-tank, 50 with high explosive damage, 320, 320 and 420. The accuracy is very, very good, 0.33, and the aiming time is absolutely phenomenal, less than 2 seconds, 1.9 second aiming time. Now, what that translates to in damage per minute terms is a sort of disappointing damage per minute of only 2,500, which when you compare to the other Tier 10 medium Soviet tanks, which all have damage per minute in excess of 2,900, and in the case of the Object 430, just a fraction over 3,000, the Object 907, which has exactly the same gun, has a faster rate of fire, which results in a damage per minute of over 2,900. Interestingly, if you look at some of the other nations' Tier 10 medium tanks, like the M48 Patton for the USA, the FV4202 for the United Kingdom, with their bigger alpha damage 105mm guns, and obviously a slower rate of fire, they still manage to have better damage per minute than the T-22sr with its 320 alpha damage and 8 rounds per minute. So As far as raw sustained damage output is concerned, the T-22sr is very much at the back of the pack, but still 2,500 isn't bad. It's just not quite as good as everybody else. But the T-22sr definitely makes up for any shortcomings in damage per minute when it comes to the other characteristics of the tank, particularly the mobility. This V12.5 engine has 750 horsepower and the tank only weighs around 36 tons. It has exactly the same 55 km/h top speed as the Object 140 and the Object 430, which means it's faster than the T62A, but that 750 horsepower engine means that the power to weight ratio on this tank is far in excess of that of any of the other Soviet Tier 10 medium tanks. 20.58 horsepower per ton, that's approaching light tank standards of power to weight ratio. Nobody would accuse the other Soviet Tier 10 mediums of being slow to get moving, but the best power-weight ratio on any of the others is the Object 430, and that manages 16.43. The T-22sr really shifts when you put your foot down. And I just so happen to have a perfect example of the sort of thing I'm talking about you at the beginning of this match on Muravanka from a cold start. All of the other Soviet Tier 10 medium tanks are here, the T-62A, the Object 140, and the Object 430, and only the Object 430 manages to stay ahead, and that's because he started further off in the direction I was going than I did. The Object 140, the T-62A just get left in my dust. This tank is seriously quick. And it's not just quick going forwards. Watch this. I hope you're strapped in because you're not going to believe what you're about to see. On level ground, this thing will exceed 20 km/h going backwards, but if you have a little bit of a hill, keep an eye on the speed indicator. Here we go. Watch this. Yeah, it's time to get out of here. Look at how fast. This tank goes faster backwards than most tanks in the game go forwards. We actually top out at 59 km/h going down the back of this hill here on Malinovka. That is just ridiculous. And it's not just fast, it's maneuverable. The turret rotates at 48 degrees per second and the hull traverses at 54 degrees per second. This sounds like a knife fighting, dog fighting, brawling kind of medium tank, Jingles. Oh yes it is. And it's got the armour to back it up as well. The actual armour figures aren't that impressive. 100 at the front, 80 at the sides and rear of the hull, 230 at the front of the turret, which is pretty good, 170 at the sides, which is pretty good, and 140 at the rear, which is pretty good. But it's the angling, rounding and sloping of the armour, and the fact that the tracks just seem to eat shot after shot after shot, that is what makes this tank so good at close range. In this particular example, I'm going to die. No question about it. I'm on half health from a Unicum T-54 emptying his pockets at me every time he pulls the trigger, and now I'm surrounded by 5 enemy tanks. At least 5, possibly 6. But just look at the beating this tank takes before it eventually succumbs to enemy firepower. Here's another example of how tough the armour of this tank is on the Serene Coast map. The first tank that we're going to come across is an enemy Batchat 25T. He's not firing premium ammunition. He's got his regular APCR ammunition loaded. And, well, there he is. He gets some backup as well. There's an M46 Patton arrives to support him. Here we go. With only 5 degrees of gun depression, I do have to come around here and basically give him shots at me. But his first 2 shots go into my tracks. His third shot bounces off my turret. Here comes the M46. I'll stick around for one more. Tracks eat one from the M46. Bounce another shot from the Batchat. And he eventually manages to penetrate the hull armour, while the M46 fires a second shot which bounces harmlessly off the turret. So the Batchat managed to do 1 penetrating hit. This is a very tough tank. Let's take a look at the armour in greater detail. So, this is the T-22sr's collision model showing the various different armour zones, and you're going to see some big surprises here, most notably the shape of the hull. It's a sort of triangular, almost boat-shaped hull. And a lot of what people think is the lower glacis on this tank, these areas here, is not. Here where you'd expect the front transmission to be, that's actually just spaced armour. Possibly you could knock the tracks off if you shoot it there, but you're not actually going to do any damage because the hull of the tank is this orange armour coloured piece here, and it is ridiculously well sloped. Get a look at that lower glacis angle right there. From directly ahead, there we go. Shooting at that lower glacis, it's only 100 millimeters thick, but its effective thickness is 260 millimeters, thanks to the angling. The upper glacis, again, 100 millimeters thick. This is where you're going to get the penetrations if you're shooting at this tank from the front, not the lower glacis. The lower glacis actually has better effective armor. Again, depending on the angle at which you're shooting at the tank. If the tank's coming up over a ridge in front of you, then by all means shoot into the lower glacis. But from directly ahead, you're better off shooting at the upper glacis. It's got that sort of pike nose in the same way that the IS-7 and the IS-8 have. And it's not bad, but this is where you're going to penetrate the machine. Effective thickness of over 200, in the region of 230, pretty much all over. But have a look at the sides, and this is really surprising. And again, it's because of the way that the hull is shaped. You can see the angling of the side armour there. It's only 80 millimeters thick. But, well, from that kind of angle, I mean, those numbers are just ridiculous. Don't forget, there's spaced armour at the sides here, and here, the tracks. Let's say, for example, that you're side scraping around a corner in this thing. So imagine the turret pointing towards you, and the tank is angled like so. Have a look at the effective thickness of this side armour. It's nearly 500 millimeters. In fact, the further back you go, it's over 500 millimeters from this kind of angle. It's absolutely ridiculous. The turret, on the other hand, is, well, if you thought the hull armour was bad, wait until you get a load of this. The nominal effective thickness of the hull armour, of the turret armour at the most is 230 millimeters, and that's this red zone here. So from directly ahead, 230 millimeters here, and it thins. This section here is only 210 millimeters, and this section here is 190 millimeters. But as the impact angle increases, even though the thickness of the armor is lowering, the effective thickness of the armor is actually going up. The front of the turret of this thing is absolutely ridiculous. And the commander's hatches, well, they're not very big targets really, are they? I've had guys in STB-1s putting very, very effective fire with high explosive anti-tank ammunition into the commander's hatches of this tank and doing a lot of damage. But they were well-aimed shots, and regardless of the fact that he was firing heat ammunition, he did very, very well to hit them. This is not an easy target to penetrate if all you can see is the hull. Even from the sides and rear, it's pretty good. 170 millimeters, 140 millimeters. But again, because of the sloping and the rounding, the effective thickness is better than the actual nominal thickness of the armour would indicate. Even from the rear, it's not bad. That's 140 millimeters thick there. This is a very, very tough little tank. It's kind of like a mini medium tank version of the IS-7. Oh, and it's also got a 400 meter view range, and one of the best radios in the game as well, with an 850 meter signal range. You know, aside from that lowish DPM, there's absolutely nothing to dislike about this tank. Well, that and the 5 degrees of gun depression as well, but only the Object 140 has better gun depression when it comes to Soviet Tier 10 mediums, and that only gets 6 degrees. So you can learn to live with 5 degrees of gun depression, especially when you've got a turret and frontal armour, and side armour as well, like this tank. So, quite enough theory crafting. Let's take this thing out and stomp some faces. First match on the Swamp map. Nice little Tier 10 medium Soviet tank wolf pack going on here, purely and simply because nobody else can keep up with us. We're just too fast. There's myself in the T-22, an Object 140, and bringing up the rear, not too far behind, a T-62A. Have to admit, I didn't really know where to go. Swamp has changed since I last saw it. This wasn't up here the last time I played this map, so a little cautious at first, thinking, what the hell, where am I going? And there we go, first contact, an enemy Object 140. 3 Tier 10 mediums, let's get in there and wreck some faces. Oh, he's got some support, of course. And I'm not paying attention to the map here, I'm focusing on what's directly in front of me, and I take a hit from behind, and there's a sneaky little Leopard prototype. Well, the tracks ate that shot. I put a return fire into him. He's obviously using the 90mm gun, didn't do a lot of damage, but that means he's going to be firing rapidly. Tracks again, score another hit on him. He's had enough of this, he's falling back. And here comes a Walker Bulldog, who is either very, very brave or very, very, very silly. He's definitely not afraid, is he? Spare Panzer 1C over there, not concerned about him. Helping this guy out here with a Walker Bulldog. Then take care of the Spare Panzer, who's definitely bitten off far more than he can chew here. And he's not getting out of there alive. Right, okay, so the Object 140 and the T-62A, who were with me, they don't appear to have finished dealing with all the other guys that we initially ran into around here. So let's pop around and see what we can do to help. Oh, no, no, well, I didn't do any damage to him, but he didn't do any damage to me either. He was in such a rush to come out and get a second shot into the brand new tank that he ran right into some fire from my wingman there. I'm reloaded. Let's pop around. There we go. First kill. Not bad. Not bad at all. Still 3 of them around there, but I think we've definitely got the situation under control. Or at least we did. Because I'm camping so hard at the front of the map here. You know what's coming, don't you? Hang on. Here we go. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We've still got these. I'm really taking some bad shots here. I freely admit it. That 1.9 second aiming time is tricking me. Here we go. Right. Pedal to the metal. Let's get in there and finish this guy off. Try not to get in the way of the other fellas with me. And I'm obviously camping so hard at the front of the map here that artillery needs to step in and encourage me to move forward out of the spawn, because artillery takes a pot shot, doesn't even hit me, and takes off a third of my health, which is nice. There you go, artillery in action, preventing camping, working as intended. Yeah. Not that I'm bitter about it or anything. Well, anyway, we've got this side of the map. Unfortunately, we don't really have the other side of the map. Our base is standing by to be overrun. We didn't send that many tanks over to the western end of the map in the first place, and the few that did go over there have realised that they're horribly outnumbered and they're falling back as fast as they can. So somebody has to go over there and prop up the base defence, and as we've already established, the T-22sr is monstrously quick. So I'm going to head back. And it's our little friend in the Leopard prototype who made it all the way around this side of the map and started capping, but he brought friends with him, and I have absolutely no interest whatsoever in getting hit by any of those bad boys. Yeah, I really don't want to get shot at by an E100 or a Jaegeru, so instead I'm going to attempt to outflank, but I'm not the only one who's attempting to do that, and in fact the situation is well in hand. There's the T-62A, made it all the way around, and yeah, the team pretty much have that situation under control. So since I've broken through the middle of the map now, I may as well keep pushing. There's only 3 enemy tanks left. A Waffenträger Panzer IV, artillery, and an E75. You can see the Waffenträger IV's last reported position on the map, right up there ahead in those buildings. He was spotted there 3 minutes into the game. Is he still there? Oh, of course he is. Well, why would he move? So, okay, we're going to side scrape around the corner because the T-62A is barreling over here at warp speed. Here he comes. And we're just going to see if we can troll this guy into shooting my tracks. Side scraping around the corner. Come on, you know you want to. There it is, yeah, thank you. T-62A pops in, gives him the good news. Reload the gun, tracks back up. He's not here, he's done. Which just leaves the artillery and the E75. And, well, there's only one place they can both be. In fact, there they are. T-95 is getting up close and personal. Artillery's done. It's just the E75 left now. And this is the stage of the match where everybody's scrambling to get that last bit of damage done just to boost their experience and credits from the game. And, as we've already established multiple times, I am in a very, very quick machine. So it's no problem whatsoever to cover the distance, get in there, and ninja the final kill. So, a solid result in the T-22sr, certainly nothing spectacular. If you want spectacular gameplay, you're watching the wrong player. But 2,600 damage. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. One thing that you should bear in mind, however, is that this, while it is a premium tank, it's not quite the same as other premium tanks. This is a mission reward tank, and so it doesn't have the credit earning potential as the kind of, for example, tier 8 premiums that you can buy in the gift shop. To all intents and purposes, this behaves as far as money making is concerned exactly like every other tier 10 tank. In other words, you have to do well in order to not lose money when you're driving this thing. Anyway, we've got time for one more replay before we have to start summing up, and this was obviously a tier 10 match on the Steppes map. This was actually quite amusing for a number of different reasons. First of all, pay attention to that enemy E100 down there. He is just not going to have a good game at all. I'm laughing because I know what's coming up. There he is, M103 behind him. Starts to exchange fire, and then he starts to take some damage. M103 doesn't like the look of this. He starts backing up, and I'm pinned down behind this rock. I spent too long staring at that E100. I really should have moved down and not hung around in this position, but the E100 he's done already. Look at that. It's like it's Steve, the IS-7 driver, isn't it? He's graduated to an E100. Angle your armour, Steve. Poor guy. He's actually going to ask, there it is, just kill me. And the team are going to oblige him. Anyway, side scraping around this rock. Tracks chewing up everything. T-22sr there came far enough out that he could put a shot into the cheek of the upper glacis, and that is going to penetrate. But multiple hits taken, Tracks chewed them all up. I really don't like being stuck behind this rock, however. I'm feeling a bit limited here. I need to get out. Let's have a quick peek. No, they appear to have backed off. I'm amazed artillery didn't hammer me, because that's what artillery's supposed to do, isn't it? They're supposed to prevent camping. So while I am camping, artillery ignores me. But in previous matches where I'm ducking and scrambling and knife fighting up front with all the other medium tanks, I get hammered by artillery. It's just working as intended, isn't it? Anyway, finally, break cover, make it out without taking any hits, which is good. Let's go and assist this Leopard with the M103. And as luck would have it, just aimed at the centre of mass and it bounced. Terrible shooting, but you know, it's me. What do you expect? Oh, this is not good. T-22sr fires down, and I believe he hit me above the gun in the top of the turret, where the turret armour is the weakest on this machine. But ducked in against the wreck of the E100. He didn't have the gun depression, and he's done. So, finally start to get putting the ability of this machine to use, instead of camping behind a rock and being ignored by artillery for the first half of the match. Leopard 1 with me, who has a better top speed and, believe it or not, a marginally better power to weight ratio. But yeah, it's only fair that the Leopard should have the edge in mobility, because I've definitely got the edge in the armour. Leopard 1 has no armour whatsoever, although you can get some lucky bouncers. Not that you should be counting on the armour to save you when you're driving that tank in the way that you can in this thing. Auto aim, firing on the move, surprisingly effective in this thing. Can we do 2 for 2? Yes, we can. No skill involved whatsoever. Auto aiming, scoring hits, and doing damage. Oh, World of Tanks, you so silly. Let's see if we can do it again. Pop up. Yeah, 3 for 3. Hooray! It's not a bad tactic in this tank though, because it is so low profile, and it's quick, so you're not actually popping up and exposing yourself for very long when you do take these shots. And oh yeah, you're not going to penetrate the turret. No. Oh, hang on, what's the Leopard doing? No, there's a T-49 out there. Don't do it, Leopard. Don't do it. Yeah, that hurt. Can we make it 4 for 4? Oh, not quite. And he's killed the Leopard, but we can ram him. Yeah. And we're behind the T-49. Auto aiming, it's for winners. Or it was in this case. Yeah, it's probably not going to come as a great surprise to anybody that I actually like this tank. I like it a lot. I think it's really, really good. The lowish DPM of that 100mm gun, it's all down to this, well, I mean, the rate of fire of 8 rounds per minute is acceptable. And any deficiencies in damage per minute are more than made up for with the superb armour and the fantastic speed and manoeuvrability. But the best thing about this tank is that it's not going to cost you any money. It's a mission reward tank from the new Rampage Domination mode that's coming up in the next patch of World of Tanks. You don't have to dip your hand into your pocket in order to get this thing. You don't have to spend any money on an overinflated package that includes a whole bunch of premium time and gold that you don't want, just to get the tank that you do want. The only thing this tank is going to cost you is blood, toil, sweat and tears as you battle it out in rampage domination mode in the next version of World of Tanks in order to unlock this thing. And that's good news. Well, it's good news if you're actually any good. It's bad news if you're crap like me and all you want to do is flash your credit card and get a brand new premium. But hey, be careful what you wish for. Everybody who was complaining about Wargaming EU's premium packaging in the gift shop, well, here you go. Here's a tank you don't have to spend any money on. You just have to be reasonably good at World of Tanks. So, yeah, I'm probably not going to own one. It is a very, very good tank, though. And those of you who do manage to earn this thing are definitely not going to be disappointed with it. And that is it for today's video. I'll be back on Monday with the next episode of Mingles with Jingles. I think we're up to episode 120 now. My, how time flies. They grow up so fast, don't they? And I hope you'll join me for that. And I hope you've enjoyed today's video. As always, folks, take care, have fun playing, whatever you're playing. And I will catch you next time.